Our fifth point is, it's not about you. This is probably one of my favorite topics. The reason why is because, we work in the beauty industry overall, I guess you could say. If you're a stylist, I guess you could say the beauty industry. As a barber, the grooming industry. And ultimately, when it comes to being barbers and stylists, at times you know that you've run into some people that are a little bit more on the arrogant side, and that are very, very, very confident about themselves. And it's more so about them than it is about the students. But you have to remember that it's not about you. It's about giving the students exactly what it is that they need, and ultimately what they really want in terms of their future and their future abilities in our industry. So one point to bear in mind is simply that when you walk into that classroom, your ego has to be checked at the door, because it's not about you. I'll give you an example. One day I was working as an instructor, and there was a student instructor that was working there. And the student instructor was given a haircut, servicing a client, a female client who was getting just a basic haircut, where she was taking the top down and, trimming the back a little bit, tapering out the back of her neck. As students crowded around and watched this student instructor, talk about himself and talk about different techniques, and not really explain the haircut, but just kind of show them how well he could cut rather than teaching. He finished up the haircut. Once he was done with the haircut and finished giving his grand stories about so many different people that he's known and how he's done this and how he's done that, he handed the client the mirror. And it wasn't good. As I looked on from the corner of my eye, and remember, I'm the licensed instructor at this time, watching this student instructor. And the reason that I'm watching from afar is because I wasn't quite sure exactly what haircut that she really wanted. I could kind of just see where he was going with it. And as I was looking from afar, I looked just to see where her reaction was, just naturally. And she was not happy at all. So as I walked over, because I started to notice her disgust and her angst, I realized that he simply had not given her the haircut that she wanted. The student instructor at that time felt very embarrassed, to say the least. Not only from the client being upset, but from the fact that the students were seeing how he didn't service the client properly. So I use this as a really good teaching point. You have to make sure that you recognize that, as we said, it's not about you. Anybody can come and just cut some hair. But are you a barber? Many people can become barbers. But are you an instructor? Are you a teacher? Are you an educator? Can you incite a student to be able to build on themselves and become better and better? That's when you know that you're really having value and you're really creating an environment for learning in your classroom and in your labs. So in this case, me and he, or not me and him, but he and I had to have a conversation shortly after that, because it was clear that he was there not because he wanted to help students, but because he wanted to show off how good he could cut hair. And I'm sure that through your experiences, you've bumped into many different barbers and stylists who are very similar to this, where again, as I mentioned before, it's about them. But even though we work individually, and most of us are independent contractors in some ways, or in some shops, I should say, it's important for you to always remember that you're always part of a team. Now, when you get into the industry, you're always going to be part of a team. In the classroom, you're going to team up students to where they're part of a team from time to time working on projects. But as far as you're concerned as an instructor, you have to remember that it's not about you in that classroom. It's not about you when you have the clippers in your hand. You have to be able to make sure that you're showing the students exactly what it is that they need to be successful. Because if you're not doing that, then they're not going to get the true value of what they're really paying for. And that's not good. So remember, with this point, it's not about you.